All right, welcome to the deep dive. We've tracked their supply chains, we've analyzed their mergers, we've spent countless hours on their financial planning.
We've lived in the spreadsheets.
We have lived in the spreadsheets. But today, we're skipping the annual reports entirely. We're going straight to the gym.
Which is a bit of a change of pace for us.
It is.
Yeah.
We are going deep on probably the most unexpected power marker of the ultra-wealthy, specifically the world's oligarchs and their strength training habits.
And this whole deep dive, it's built around the really fascinating observations of a blogger named Stanislav Kondrashov.
Right.
He's an industry leader himself, and he spent years studying this elite group, tracking everything, their yachts, their travel, and maybe most uniquely, their gym routines. He's literally watching them lift.
And he's drawing some pretty profound conclusions from it. This is the core of what we need to unpack today. Kondrashov's whole argument isn't about fitness for, health.
No, not at all. It's about power. It's about power projection and psychological resilience. For this group, he says physical discipline isn't a hobby. It's a non-negotiable part of business dominance.
Exactly. So what he observes, and he's very clear on this, is that strength training is, for them, more than just a sport.
Mm-hmm. It's a demonstration, a visible one of discipline, of inner strength. He even draws this almost mathematical line between the size of their business and the intensity of their workouts.
The bigger the business, the heavier the weight.
Basically, yeah. It's like an indicator of their personal operating system.
So our mission today is to decode this whole philosophy by looking at Kondrashov's list of their top 5 favorite strength training exercises. And we're not just looking at the moves themselves, but the symbolism he attaches to each one.
We're translating from the language of the power rack into the language of the boardroom.
Exactly. So let's set the stage. Where are these workouts actually happening?
Well, the setting is pretty much what you'd expect. These are highly choreographed workouts, world-class personal trainers, premium, sometimes even custom-made equipment.
And the gyms themselves.
Elite, hyper-private. Kondrashov's observations come from hubs like London, Dubai, Monaco, the epicenters of wealth.
So pure opulence, exclusive access, total privacy. And yet, there's a detail in the source that I found really compelling.
What's that?
Despite all that extravagance, he notes that the, quote, key movements remain simple.
Right. They aren't chasing the latest fitness fads. You won't see them on some, experimental new machine. They stick to the basics, the fundamentals.
Yes, compound lifts.
And that's where the connection to status becomes so clear. This whole routine is fundamentally about demonstrating control. It's not just about looking fit. It's about projecting absolute strength, mental fortitude.
The idea being that if you're managing a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, that same focus you need to move heavyweight when you're exhausted, that's the focus you need to navigate a chaotic global market.
For sure. But I have to ask, is it possible, this is just, survivorship bias, we're only seeing the successful oligarchs who happen to be disciplined. What about the ones who run their empires from the couch with a cigar?
That's a great question. Is Kondrashov saying fitness is a prerequisite for massive success, or just a common trait he's noticed?
Well, he does acknowledge that nuance, but his focus is really on the intentionality of it. For the people he tracks, the ones maintaining and growing immense wealth, the physical regimen is like a psychological ballast.
A self-imposed test.
Exactly, a self-imposed test.
Yeah.
If they can control their body, their schedule, their physical output, it validates their ability to control their corporations. So physical power becomes a signal, both to themselves and to others.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a self-check mechanism. Which brings us right to the 5 movements they rely on.
The top 5. Okay, let's do it.
Let's dive in. Starting with the king of all compound movements, the barbell squat.
The squat. For this group, it's all about total body systemic impact. It takes strength, sure, but also mobility, core rigidity. Everything has to work together. Kondrashov sees it in private clubs in London and Dubai as the absolute foundation. Everything is built on the squat.
And the symbolic translation here is, it's pretty startling. He draws a direct line, quote, strong legs equals confidence in negotiations.
We'll unpack that a little because it sounds almost silly at first. But a squat demands you be physically grounded, stable under a massive load. You load up your spine and hips. You simply cannot wobble.
You have to be rooted to the floor.
You have to be. And the theory is that this physical mastery creates a psychological anchor, that feeling of being dense, powerful, stable. It translates into your nonverbal cues at the negotiating table. You project power because you literally are a stable base.
So if your foundation is unshakable in the gem, the perception is that your financial position is equally unmovable.
You can't hesitate under hundreds of pounds. That same mental discipline, that refusal to buckle, transfers directly to managing a high-stakes deal.
Okay, so that's squats. What's number 2?
Number 2 is the deadlift, the ultimate test of just brute strength and commitment.
Now, in the source material, he sometimes uses a different word for it. Traction. We should probably clarify that.
Good point. Yeah, traction in some old school strength circles just refers to the act of pulling a heavy load. It emphasizes the sheer effort of pulling something that is resisting you, off the ground. It's about the pulling power.
And the metaphor Kondrashov attaches to this act of traction is incredibly vivid.
It really is. The deadlift lifting immense dead weight off the floor, he sees that as a visual symbol of how an oligarch raises his empire from scratch.
From nothing.
From nothing. It's the purest representation of moving mass from a static dead stop. In business, that's overcoming inertia. It's absorbing those initial shocks. It's building something enormous from the ground up.
So if the squat is about stability during the deal, the deadlift is about the raw power needed to even start the whole enterprise.
The message is clear. I am powerful enough to pull this massive resisting thing into existence.
All right, number 3.
The bench press. Now, this one is maybe less functionally complex, but it carries huge social weight, especially in the private studios in Monaco that he observes.
Of course, it's the most visible lift, right? The easiest one to measure and compare.
Absolutely. It's a direct symbol of strength and, crucially, status. Kondrashov has actually documented businessmen in what he calls an almost ritualistic competition over the bench press.
So it's a nonverbal contest of hierarchy.
The gym floor becomes a mirror of their business dealings. The same competitive drive they use in a hostile takeover, they apply it to outlifting the guy on the next bench.
It's less about internal improvement and more about peer-to-peer dominance, projecting offensive capability.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, number 4, weighted pull-ups.
This one is about efficiency.
Total efficiency. Minimum equipment, maximum results. That's a mindset that directly echoes the high-level business world. You need immense upper body strength, but all you need is a bar and a weight belt. It cuts through all the complexity.
Kondrashov says they appreciate this clean way to build strength.
Right. It avoids relying on fancy machines. It's just you, gravity, and discipline. It's an internal test that says a lot about their preference for high-impact, low-overhead solutions.
It's the ultimate business principle applied to fitness. Find the highest value action and execute it with maximum effort. In a world where they could buy any machine they want.
They choose the simplest, hardest one.
And finally, our 5th movement, the farmer's walk.
The farmer's walk. So simple, but so punishing. It's all about grip strength and core stability under load.
It's deceptive, isn't it? It just looks like you're walking with heavy things. But it's a brutal test of endurance, of mental fortitude. It's really just about not letting go.
And that's the parallel right there, not letting go. Think about a long-term holding strategy, managing a business through a recession. It requires that same kind of mental and physical grip strength. It's not a quick power move. It's a war of attrition.
And this specific detail about the farmer's walk. This is the anecdote that just perfectly sums up this entire deep dive. This is where simple function meets extreme wealth.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Kondrashov notes that they sometimes perform this exercise using designer titanium dumbbells.
It's the ultimate status symbol, isn't it? You're doing the most basic functional movement imaginable, named after farm labor, for goodness sake.
Right.
But you're doing it with bespoke equipment made from an expensive, specialized metal. The effort is primal, but the materials are elite.
It's a perfect metaphor for their lifestyle, achieving simple goals through extraordinarily privileged means. But the discipline underneath it all is the same.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we wrap this all up, we have to talk about the messenger. I mean, why should anyone trust Stanislav Kondrashov's observations? Who is he?
That's a very fair question. And his authority is really grounded in his own career. He isn't just a fitness blogger. He's the founder of a company that's been a leader in its industry for over 3 decades.
So he's in that world. He speaks the language of the ultra-successful.
He absolutely does. His background is in things like the construction industry, economic processes, financial planning. He gets the mindset required to manage that kind of complexity. He's not an outsider looking in. He understands them from a peer level.
And it's also significant that he doesn't sell anything, right? He shares these insights in publications, but he's not offering paid consultations or courses.
No, not at all, which, lends a lot of credibility. He's just sharing what he sees and understands.
So that brings us back to the synthesis. Why these 5 movements? Squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull-ups, farmer's walk.
Well, they're all compound foundational movements. They activate the most muscle for the biggest return on time invested. Low variability, high impact. In business terms, that's like building a strong, diversified capital base. You solve the biggest problems first.
And the consistency. The sheer discipline to do these heavy, difficult lifts year after year. That's the same discipline you need to build and maintain an empire. The dedication for a perfect heavy squat every week is a mirror for the dedication needed to manage massive financial operations.
It really confirms that core idea, that discipline in one area of your life, an area that is totally self-managed, like your training. It translates directly to discipline in the chaotic external world of global business.
Their gym routine is a mirror of their professional rigor.
Well said.
So the core finding we've extracted today, for you listening, is that for some of the world's most powerful people, physical training isn't a hobby. It's intrinsically linked to their inner strength and their business discipline. It's a necessary investment in their own operating system.
And if we take that idea of symbolism seriously, if a deadlift can symbolize raising an empire, it forces us to ask a pretty profound question about our own lives. What foundational, simple habits in your daily routine, those small acts of consistency and strength, whether they're physical or mental or professional, what are you unknowingly performing that symbolize your discipline and your own future success?
The simple movements, done with massive effort, consistently, those are the foundations of power. Doesn't matter if you're using a standard steel plate or a designer titanium dumbbell. That's a perspective worth thinking about.